of the race. Neither driver would give up the position, and in the end, it was the brash, exciting Wilden who came out on top.
That's been the hairiest point in my whole life.
This week, they'll be out on the track to do it all over again, going head-to-head at Shannonville Motorsport Park in Ontario. The GM Motorsport Hour, brought to you by General Motors of Canada Limited and by Quality GM Parts, Players Limited of Canada, Priority Courier, and Sony of Canada. Hi, I'm Jim Paulson. It is sweltering here in Shannonville, Ontario. We're ready, though, for the third round of the Players Limited GM Motorsport Series in 1990. This is King Richard's track. For Richard Spinard, he teaches here, he runs here regularly. But a lot of pretenders to that throne around him. The young crowd are coming on strong. Beside him, a real veteran in this world, Robin Buck. Who will have the advantage in the start? We're about to find out. Let's check out the rest of the grid, though, and here's our co-host, Paul Chater.
Thanks, Jim. For today's race, there are 22 cars on the starting grid. At the back of the field on row number 11, number 6, Larry Caruso from Thornhill, Ontario. Next to him is Ted Powell from Toronto. David Boyle, driving the 14 car, starts 20th. And Paul Lawler, number 57, shares row 10. Row 9 stars number 90, John Kyle Jr., and Jeffrey Paps in the number 4 Camaro. Driving the beautiful Firebird is Richard Roy. Next to him, Jeff Lapsevich. Row 7 has Sean Grossman, and number 13, Renaud Emlen. Joe Lapsevich Jr., brother of Jeff, in row 6. Fast rookie Chris Davies in car number 7 starts 11th. Peter Cohen from Montreal, and Howie Scannell from Milton make up row 5. Terry Betts, number 3, on row 4, with Doug Beatty Jr. in car number 11. The top 6 qualifiers are inverted. This means the fastest man here, Rob Fellows, is placed 6th on the grid, but he gains 15 championship points and a check for $500 from Sunoco. Beside Rob is David Empringham. He should do well. He's an instructor here at Shannonville at the Spinard David Racing School. On row 2, Kenny Wilden, another driving instructor for young drivers. Beside Kenny is number 71, John Cadman Jr., a very competitive driver who did an excellent job to qualify 3rd. On the front row, Robin Buck, yet another driving instructor. He works for the men starting on the pole, Richard Spinard. Will they be giving the master lessons today? We'll have to wait to see. Richard looking rather battle-weary after having completed another race moments ago on one of the hottest race days we've seen in a long while. Has the king of Canadian motor racing been at it a bit too long?
Well, I think it's just he's getting too old. You know, I talked to him at the start of the season, and I said, you know, Ricky, says, you're over 30 now. He says, when that happens, you start to slow down. So I think he's starting to see a bit of that now.
It's pretty tough to beat experience, but then on the other hand, it's pretty tough to beat youth. So I don't know how long Richard's going to be competitive, but I would think for a little while yet.
Yeah, Richard's getting too old for the sport. No, just joking. I wouldn't think he's fading. He's just, the guys are all getting very quick. We've always been very competitive together at all the tracks, and David and Kenny put on a heck of a show and gave him a good run for his money.
I don't think we're scaring him off at all. I think he's just, today I think he just had a bad qualifying section. In Montreal, he was too worried about Kenny, and he forgot to look behind him with me.
Well, the King's getting a little old, and there's a new prince on the block, and that's Kenny Wilson. So we're going to take over for where Richard's leaving off.
They are very good, all right? We're driving a car which is relatively easy to drive. And what happened, Cadman, David, BT, all the upcoming driver are getting more competitive because they have experience behind the wheel. There's so much you can do with a Camaro. We definitely teach what we do. So if they apply it well, we see the results, you know.
And the story of today's race should be youthful enthusiasm against the experience of older drivers. Let's go down to Jim Paulson at trackside.
Thank you, Paul. The field has fired. back to Shannonville, race 2 in the Players GM Series. They're just finishing up the pace lap here. Everyone appears to be in very nice order at this stage, Paul.
There are the two fastest qualifiers, number 45, David Empringham, and beside him, Rob Fellows in car number 2. They're out of turn 14, waiting for the green flag. The flag is down, and the cars are already jockeying for position. Robin Buck trying to out-drag race Richard Spinard into turn 1.
Again, a situation here where it's Spinard's track, and yet Robin Buck appears to have the advantage, and in fact is in front, Paul.
Into corner 2, Robin Buck leading just as he did in Montreal right from the first lap. He's got Richard Spinard hot on his tail, and look at this big
Rob Fellows
slide. And Kenny Wilden, number 17, sideways and around onto the infield, did a complete spin. He's got to get back into the traffic. He's going to rejoin the race now at the end of the field. He's going to have to work very hard to gain some ground back.
Let's go to the Sony Handycam in Kenny Wilden's car. Have another look at this incident, Paul. It begins here.
Look, Kenny pulls to the inside, under braking to try to pick up a couple of positions. He's right beside Spinard, and he bumps number 71. That's John Cadman Jr., and does a complete 360 onto the grass. Look at this, right around. Cadman gets back on the circuit all right, though, number 71. It looked like Wilden just had the door shut on him.
I don't believe this.
Boy, Kenny showing a lot of frustration in his conversation with the crew there on that incident in the first lap.
I got sandwiched.
He certainly did. Let's have a replay here, Paul. There's Kenny in the middle.
Look at this, 3 abreast. David Empringham on the inside. He goes over the curb, nudges Wilden. Wilden gets pushed into Cadman. Cadman completely sideways, not his fault, really. Then Wilden gets bumped, not only by Empringham, but by Fellows as well. Cars all over the track. Cadman, number 71, off on the dirt. Back to the leaders now at the end of the back straightaway. That's Robin Buck, number 34, leading. And Richard Spinard, the king, is in second place and putting a wheel off onto the dirt. Fellows is running in third.
Look at that, Richard. They're looking very determined at this point. As we keep stressing here, it is Richard's track, but he is wobbling all over the place here, trying to hang on to Robin Buck, Paul.
Jim, I think the track must be very slippery in this heat, because it's uncharacteristic to see Spinard this early in an event running wheels up onto the curb and actually hitting the dirt. He's trying very hard in second place. There's Fellows running in third spot.
Back in Kenny Wilden's car. He's back in 16th place, trying to regain some ground.
He's behind number 13, Ronald Amlin. You know, he was in 19th in his past 3 cars already. Look at this, diving onto the inside through this very tight left-hander. That's a tough corner. He's now chasing number 14, David Boyle, through the last few S's onto the front straightaway now, down next to the pits, and he's going to move to the inside going into turn 1. This corner is flat out, and he's trying to get through on the inside. Look at the body damage to Kenny Wilden's number 17 car. All of that suffered on the second corner of the first lap. Here's Wilden, corner 2, dives on the inside, under braking, next to David Boyle, and he's picked up one more position.
He's got young Jeffrey Papst now directly in front of him here. Jeffrey is running for the rookie honors, or hoping for that in 1990. And this time Kenny gets way off the track and kicks up a little bit more dirt. Now he works on Papst, and nope, he'll fall in and latch onto the tailpipe again, Paul.
That's through corner 4. It's a very difficult corner, and it winds back now into the fast part of the circuit, and he is chasing Papst. There's Kenny Wilden. Look at the damage to that car, number 17. But it's not slowing him down. He moves inside Papst, gives him a little nudge, sends him off into the dirt. Kenny's doing everything he can to get back up with the front runners. They're still side by side, but Kenny's finally got him.
I tell you, Kenny's got to be learning something here. And along pit row, there's John Cadman Jr.
Number 71, John Cadman Jr. He obviously came into contact with a lot of cars in that incident in turn 2 on the first lap, and he probably punctured a tire. They're changing the left front.
Back with the leaders, here's Robin Buck still leading Richard Spinard. Rob Fellows not going to let that duo get away. Interesting about Robin, he has never missed in this going to the 5th year of the Players Limited GM Motorsport Series. He's the only one who's never missed a race, Paul.
And we have the 2 guys who have won the most races in this series, Richard Spinard and Robin Buck, running in first and second. Richard's won 15 events in this series over the years. Robin Buck has won 9, and they're going head-to-head again through the last corner now, down out onto the front straightaway to start the 3rd lap.
I think the main thing we've noticed here is that Spinard seems to have settled down a little bit, Paul. Not quite as frantic as the run was at Robin a little earlier, and as a result, gaining a car length or 2, in fact, is Rob Fellows.
And Fellows is actually taking advantage of the fight that's going on for first place. When you have drivers like Robin Buck and Richard Spinard battling it out for position, they actually slow each other down, and that allows the driver who's back in 3rd or 4th place to gain some ground. But now Fellows is going to be involved in that battle, and we're going to have a 3-car fight. So we should watch some of the cars farther back in the field in 4th or 5th to see if they can make up some ground once these 3 start to really go at each other.
Here's Rob Fellows. Last year it was a two-car effort, of course. That gets a little bit more work for him this year, not having brother Ron along to sort of assist in some of these situations.
Well, at times like this, it helps to have a teammate with you who can run some blocking for you. Richard Spinard may have that advantage shortly because David Empringham is in 4th place in car number 45. We can see him at the back of the picture. Now, look at this. Fellows having a good run at Spinard, almost touching his rear bumper through that left-hander. He's having a look for a place to pass. Now watch as they come out towards that long back straightaway, and it's a drag race down here. It's long enough to land an airplane on. We should watch to see if Fellows can outrun Spinard down the straight.
The only question mark here is, obviously, Ronnie is lining it up now. Where is he going to attempt the pass? He hangs on very tightly. Robin Buck just ignoring all this. He continues to run away as our race leader. Here come the fight for second. They're all kicking up a little bit of dust coming out of that one, Paul.
And Robin Buck has managed to gain a slight advantage over Spinard. You wonder now if Richard is watching his mirrors more than he's looking out the windshield. It's certainly an indication of that because Rob Fellows is able to pick up some ground, and he's pressing very hard on Spinard through corner 14 here.
So we have Richard Spinard in 42. Rob Fellows in car number 2. Our leader in number 34, Robin Buck, and that is David Empringham in the back, coming on like gangbusters.
Look at the front of Empringham's Motormaster Camaro. It's just covered in black tire marks from that incident on the first lap. There's the leader, Robin Buck, number 34, a Firebird up front with a whole gaggle of Camaros behind him. There's Spinard, number 42, and Fellows right behind him in car number 2. Fellows is setting up Spinard. Look at this. He's driving onto the inside. Spinard tries to hold his line. He just can't do it without making body contact, and Rob Fellows is into 2nd place.
Oh, that was an absolutely brilliant pass. The door handles didn't even touch on that one. Fellows just flew by Spinard on the inside.
The kind of pass Richard teaches at his racing school here, but he should be on the other side of it.
And, of course, he's an excellent driver. But Spinard will do his best to try to hang on to Rob Fellows here now.
There's Spinard in car number 42, the Motomaster Camaro, running in 3rd spot now. And John Cadman Jr., number 71, spent 3 laps in the pits. He's 3 laps down as he rejoins the race, of course, now just to finish the event.
Look at Kenny Wilden working on more of the field here as he tries to find his way back up here to become a factor at Shannonville, and it's a bit of a job for him.
That is one sad-looking car on the right-hand side. He got bashed around an awful lot in that first lap. Number 17 inside now with Kenny Wilden as he tries to put a pass on 99 Howie Scannell on the outside through a right-hander. That's an unusual place, but he takes advantage of it, dives to the inside. He's looking for some room under braking into this right-hander, and he's got number 99 Howie Scannell.
And another obstacle right here in the form of Peter Cohen. He can't quite get by him. Now, Peter has won on this track in the fastball, and Peter may know what he's up to here.
But Kenny Wilden is very determined to get back up with the leaders, and so is Howie Scannell in the white car. He's a big slide coming out of that corner down onto the back straight.
With 4 laps complete, the standings, 34, Robin Buck, the race leader, followed by Rob Fellows, Richard Spinard, David Empringham, and Doug Beatty Jr., number 11, running 5th. We'll be right back after this commercial break. We're back with round 3 of the Players Limited GM Motorsport Series. Here's your race leader, Robin Buck. Right behind him is Rob Fellows, followed by Richard Spinard, running 3rd.
And there's Kenny Wilden's Tide crew standing in the pits watching their driver in car number 17 try to get past number 66, Peter Cohen. There's Wilden trying to go on the inside, under braking into the left-hander, and Howie Scannell, he's behind him. He blocks his brakes up. He sees that battle going on. He wants to stay away from it. Look at this, side by side. Cohen's still on the inside. He's got the advantage over Kenny Wilden. Let's go inside Wilden's car. Oh, and a big bump as Wilden tried to go outside between Peter Cohen and the pit wall. Into turn 1, Wilden's not giving him an inch at all. Now, as they charge down this short straight into turn 2, there goes Wilden. He pulls out, under braking, hard on the brakes into turn 2, and he's done it. He's passed Peter Cohen.
Oh, I tell you, Kenny Wilden and Peter Cohen both lucky they didn't spin out here one more time in that incident getting into the front straight ball.
Let's have another look at it. They're the 2 cars back there sideways in slow motion. Wilden trying to get through. Cohen moves right over on him to keep him behind. Howie Scannell figures there's an opportunity. He dives. Look at Kenny Wilden waving his fist out the window, trying to get Peter Cohen to move over. These 3 drivers are having a great race. Peter Cohen almost cuts off Wilden now going into turn 1, and poor Howie Scannell caught in the middle of it.
Howie didn't quite show all of his oval track experience there. He really should have tried to barge on by this duo, but he backed off, Paul.
And there's Kenny Wilden now comfortably in 8th place, fighting back from 19th after that first lap incident. He's off the road again. Boy, he's trying hard. Heavy under braking, and Peter Cohen trying to stay with him. Back with the leaders now, number 34, Robin Buck on the back straight. Fellows in second place right behind him. And Richard Spinard running in third spot, but he seems to be losing a little ground in the front two cars.
Robin Buck comes through. We just got word a little while ago that Robin has been chosen as one of the 4 that are going to be go-kart racing in Latvia later on this year, Paul. So he's maybe practicing today at Shannonville.
Well, the Soviet drivers won't know what hit them. With guys who are used to leading on each other's bodywork, you can't do that in a go-kart. Down the front straightaway, Robin Buck in number 34, Rob Fellows number 2 behind him through turn 1.
These 3 race leaders seem to have settled into a little more comfortable mid-race tempo here, while there's a war happening behind them, Paul.
You're not kidding, Jim. There's hardly a car back there without some body damage to it. We can see Rob Fellows still trying very hard behind Robin Buck. Fellows putting a wheel up on the curbing several times, while Robin Buck is driving, it seems, very conservatively. He's saving the tires and he's saving the cars. He knows the competitors behind him will make a hard push near the last few laps.
Seems to be the main concern, and I think the leaders are following this right now. If anything's going to happen later in the tempo of this race, it'll be with perhaps a brake or tire situation that'll be softening up on them, Paul.
Well, we can't forget the heat today. It not only takes its toll on the poor driver all suited up in a Nomex suit, but it also takes its toll on the tires as well.
Let's get to the Sony Handycam here in Rob Fellows' car now as he pursues Robin Buck, Paul.
Through the right-hander. He needs the speed down the back straightaway if he has any hope of passing Robin Buck going into this fast right-hander at the end of the straight. He's not close enough now. He really needs to be tucked up in the draft behind that number 34 Firebird.
Spinard, I think, is really dropping off the pace here. He seems to be fairly well back on this particular lap from these 2 that are racing out front, Paul.
Buck looks comfortable in the lead, and why shouldn't he be? He spends most of his time at this track near Belleville, Ontario. This week's Players Limited Profile takes a look at the 2 faces of Belleville. Located 200 kilometers east of Toronto, Belleville is known as the Friendly City. Founded by the United Empire Loyalists in the late 1700s, today Belleville has a population of 37,000. It is a unique blend of old and new. Situated on the Bay of Quinte, it has become a holiday haven for thousands of tourists each year. Truly a place to get away from it all. But for those who like life in the fast lane, there's the Spinard David Racing School here at Shannonville.
We get all kinds of people coming to the school, anywhere from people who just want a thrill of a lifetime to people who want to pursue some sort of racing career.
You're going to brake when the cone first cone goes by your peripheral vision. You're going to put the clutch in.
The school, which has been in operation since 1985, has an impressive track record. Former student Robin Buck.
With David and myself and Richard and even Ron, all the graduates from the school have done very, very well. You know, all guys that have been part of the Spinard David School, and it just goes to show that, you know, success breeds success.
But did the boss, Richard Spinard, really teach them everything he knows?
I think he might have held back a few little things. No, he really helps me a lot. Everything from when I first started here up until even every time we're on the track now in the racing series we're in presently, he's always coaching me and helping me with things I have problems with. So the learning curve never really stops. There's always something to learn. Every time you're out on the track, you learn something new.
Now we're going to do
But what's it like racing against the people you work with?
You touch the inside of the track.
Well, it's different. David and I have a very good relationship off the track. We're good friends, but when we're on the track, we respect each other. I definitely respect David, and I know he's very talented. And if one of us gets the better of the other, well, we respect that, and hopefully the better driver of the day will win, and hopefully that's me.
Well, away from the peace and quiet of the classroom, we're back on track. It's a race weekend. They're on lap 6, and Robin Buck is leading this event.
And Rob Fellows in car number 2 is sticking right with him. There is a gap back to third place to Richard Spinard. It has opened up quite significantly. Now inside with Rob Fellows as he chases down Robin Buck in car number 34.
Rob just feathering these brakes as he scoots around Shannonville. Rob following that very same procedure. It looks like he's about to gamble on a dive on the inside, but he'll decide when that moment is right, and I think he can probably take that advantage. He goes to the left, back to the right, Paul.
Fellows is making it very obvious to Robin Buck that he wants to pass. Look at that, 2 wheels off in the dirt. He's not following precisely in Robin Buck's tire tracks. He's trying to find different lines through the corners to try to find an opening to get by.
Oh, look out. Here's number 23, Richard Roy. He races out of Trois-Rivières, Quebec, in a Firebird that is not burning as well as Robin Buck's, which is out front. Richard waits for a moment, and then we'll get back on track.
Rob Fellows in the Sunoco Camaro number 2, still hot on the tail of Robin Buck. Look at this. He's about as close as he can possibly get. He's setting him up now on the inside through this right-hander out onto the back straightaway, and Robin moves over, shuts the door on him. But Rob Fellows may have more speed, and that's what really counts when you get to the end of this straight. He's trying to stay in the draft with Robin Buck, and if he's got enough speed, he can pull out and try to pass, but he's just unable to do it. His line was off enough coming out of that last corner before the straight, and he couldn't carry the speed to get by Robin Buck.
Let's look at the overall race standings after 7 laps at Shannonville, and we'll be back with more race action in a moment. We're back to the heat of the race action. The car wrestling at Shannonville. Robin Buck trying to hold off Rob Fellows.
And Fellows has been trying for several laps to find a hole any way he can to get around the number 34 Pringles Firebird, and he just hasn't been able to do it yet. Now, as they start lap number 8 of 20 laps, Fellows is close enough to challenge. They go through turn 1. It's flat out in 4th gear. The cars will slide all the way out to the left-hand side of the circuit, up on the speed curbing. Now, this is a great place to pass. We can see that really Buck is in command of this event. Fellows just can't outbrake him going into these tight corners.
Robin up in some curbing. Rob Fellows follows him directly, and now right up on the bumper, and he pulls off to the inside, Paul.
There he goes, turn 4. It's a tough left-hander, and he's done it under braking. Rob Fellows sneaked in on the inside of Robin Buck, and he's got the lead. The first time Robin Buck has been out of first place in this race. And look, Fellows is already starting to pull away.
And you know, the second beautiful pass we have seen happen during the race activity here today, Rob pulled that off ideally.
Textbook, and both these drivers trained at the racing school on this track, and it's beginning to show. Rob Fellows in car number 2, the Sunoco Gold Mackenzie Financial Camaro out front with the number 34 Pringles Firebird sticking right with him.
I don't think for long, though, Paul, because now that Rob Fellows is in front, he really is beginning to pull away from Robin Buck.
It looks almost as though Fellows was being held up for the first 7 laps. Now that he's out in front, he's starting to gain some ground on Robin Buck. Maybe Robin's just sitting back and watch what will happen for a few laps before he re-challenges again. Behind them, we can see a battle starting now for 3rd place. That's Richard Spinard in the white car, Motomaster Camaro. Right behind him, his teammate and former student, I might add, David Empringham.
Interesting to watch this war as it comes into our view now, and I think this may be the next pass we'll have to watch for. Spinard seems to be softening a little bit. Empringham is definitely gaining on him. Spinard off into the dirt one more time on the outside, and Spinard just a little more smooth on that pass.
Empringham's car showing some battle scars from the first lap incident. Look at the front spoiler. It's covered with black tire skid marks. And Empringham now, he's right up on the back bumper of Spinard. He takes a wider line going into turn 14 to try to sneak in on the inside to go down the front straightaway. He had a tighter line, but he wasn't able to do it. Now, watch, as they head into turn 1, he won't be able to do this under braking. They don't touch the brakes at all going into the first corner. What he's doing is setting up Spinard for this straight down into corner 2. Oh, well, he may have just messed it up there by putting a wheel off in the dirt. Let's go inside now with David Empringham in corner 2. Spinard in front of him in car number 42. Spinard, a little slide. You can see his front wheels moving back and forth as he corrects. Going into turn 3, it's a very fast right-hander. Now the tricky part. Turn 4 here, it's a difficult corner. It looks like it's off camber, like it slopes to the outside. The car has a tendency to slide, which is what Spinard's doing. He slid way wide there. Empringham moved on the inside into turn 5, and he's got 3rd place.
Time to replay this action once more. Let's have a look at it from the outside. A beautiful move by Empringham on the inside of the track. Spinard, you almost get the impression, just let the student by.
Well, Empringham took advantage of a situation. Spinard got the car into a slide at turn 5, got it a little too wide, and Empringham took advantage and just dove onto the inside. It was a beautiful pass from a driver who was poised and ready to take advantage when it came. There's Spinard, number 42.
The front four should now settle in for a lap or so. We'll see if Spinard comes back. Here's Kenny Wilden, though. He's in 8th place, now attacking Terry Betts in car number 3.
Terry Betts is leaking gas out of his car.
Comment there from Kenny Wilden to his pit crew that gasoline is leaking from Terry Betts' car number 3. Let's go inside now with Kenny Wilden as we watch him chase down Terry Betts. He's trying to gain 7th place. Remember, he was in 19th after that crash on the first lap. Here he is, diving on the inside now through the right-hander, and he's done it. He's picked up 7th place. Kenny Wilden in car number 17. Let's have a replay now as Wilden, look at him. Beautiful move, under braking. Oh, a little more body contact. That poor tied Camaro is going to be a mess at the end of this race.
Kenny Wilden truly closed the door there on Terry Betts. Oh, there's a little bit of sliding, so there's some slippery on segments of the course, Paul.
There's so much rubber laid down, and it's really getting slick out there. Look, number 57, that's Paul Lawler. Missed his braking by a long shot, then locked him up, got a little behind in his steering, and a big slide off the road. He had it understeering badly going into that turn and just couldn't hold it, got on the brakes and slid straight off the road.
Back to our race leader, there's Rob Fellows. Rob and Buck now pretty well dropping off that pace. Now that Rob is by, he's truly running away, and it looks like Empringham is getting away from Spinard.
We've seen Spinard play this cool before. We can see he's saving his tires. He's not running it up on the curb as much as he was in the earlier lap. But even at that, he's letting the front 2 cars get away. And David Empringham in car number 45, his teammate, seems to be pulling out a little ground as well. So you have to wonder if there isn't something wrong with Richard's car, or if he used up his tires in those first 7 or 8 laps.
I think you make a good point, though, Paul, and it's no time to discount the master. We're approaching the halfway point here at Shannonville, and Richard might be, as you say, just taking it a little bit cool at this stage.
It's quite a contrast to see Spinard's car, which hasn't got a mark on it, and Empringham, who got involved in that corner 2 first lap incident, has got a lot of black tire skid marks all over his car, particularly on the front spoiler, and Spinard just playing it cool. He really is a master at this. But you have to wonder, with Empringham getting away from him, if it's now a case of the apprentice teaching the master.
I'd like to think so, but I think our relationship is very good. We've become extremely good friends, and we help each other on the track when we can. Seems to be him helping me more than me helping him, but things are going very well amongst the team.
We pick up on Robin Buck here in Allen's Corner at Shannonville, and of course Empringham, and then Spinard, who's truly dropping off the pace.
As Rob Fellows crosses the start-finish line, he is the Goodyear mid-race leader. That's worth a set of tires as well as prize money from the folks at Goodyear. Rob, the brother of last year's series champion Ron, is finally getting his chance to prove his abilities behind the wheel. Let's take a look at Rob Fellows up close.
In 1988, Rob Fellows entered the Players GM Series with the desire to drive and win. His first Players GM victory happened at Cayuga in 1988, and that year he would go on to win the prestigious Rookie of the Year honors.
Well, this year I feel, being in Ron's shadow for the last 2 years, this will be my first year to be in a position to win the championship. And as much as it was really good for me to be learning from Ron and following him, I had a lot of difficulty with the racing aspect, and knowing that Ron was out to win the championship, being his teammate, it didn't really leave me that same opportunity. So I respected that, and I'm just looking at this year as being my first real chance to win.
With Rob's brother out of the picture for the '90 season, the track is wide open to Fellows to make his mark. But what does it take to win the Players Limited GM Motorsport Series?
To win a championship in this series, you've got to be in the top 3 all the time, and you've got to qualify in the top 3. It's just the last 3 years, the guy who's won the championship has never had less than 800 points, and you need to average at least 100 to 105 points a weekend to have any chance at all to win the championship. So that's the way I'm approaching it. My goal is to win the championship, and with the kind of competition that we have out there with Richard and David and Robin, all these consistent front runners, it's a tough job, but all the pieces are there. I just have to go out there and do the job now.
True to his word, Rob Fellows won the first Eastern Series Players GM race held at Motorsport. With a solid racing experience and the true Fellows' desire to win, look for the blue Sunoco #2 Camaro in the winner's circle in 1990.
With the 11 laps down, here are the race standings in our third round of the Players Limited GM Motorsport Series at Shannonville, and we'll be right back. In the 4-year history of the Players Limited GM Motorsport Series, who has not yet won at Shannonville? Is it A, Richard Spinard, B, Peter Cohen, or C, Robin Buck?
It's A, Richard Spinard. Although he was fastest qualifier in 87 and 89, he has yet to win at his home track.
Including this race, who holds the fastest race lap recorded at Shannonville? Is it A, Kenny Wilden, B, Robin Buck, or C, Rob Fellows?
It's B, Robin Buck. On June 25th, 1989, he turned in a 2:04.365. The fastest lap of this race so far is 2:05.504, posted by Rob Fellows on lap number 2.
I'm Jim Polson with Paul Chater. We're back for round 3 of the Players Limited GM Motorsport Series from Shannonville, Ontario. Here comes the race leader, Rob Fellows.
Down the front straightaway, and look at the lead he's got already over Robin Buck. It took him a long time to get that lead, but once he took over, he's taken command.
Looks like Rob is running away. Let's measure the gap between our race leader here, Rob Fellows. Then Robin Buck coming by, 4 seconds back of the leader. Then it's 2 seconds before David Empringham comes through running in third.
And there's number 17, Kenny Wilden, in 7th place. Last year's rookie winner, chasing the rookie leader of this year in car number 7, Chris Davies.
See if Kenny Wilden can teach the new rookie this season maybe a point or two. He's certainly coming up on strong ball.
Let's hope the young rookie doesn't get any lessons from looking at all the body damage on Kenny Wilden's car. That's not a great example. There's Wilden in car number 17. He's after Chris Davies in car number 7. Wilden has scratched and clawed his way up from 19th place on that first lap to now find himself in 7th and challenging for 6th.
Kenny Wilden truly trying, boots up a little bit of dust there. In fact, in his attempt, we go in car as he tries to reel in Chris Davies.
Oh, a slide from Chris Davies. The front tires really tell the story. When you watch those, you can see how much the driver in front is working and how hard he is trying to hold off Kenny Wilden. Now, Wilden, here he goes. He looks to the inside through this right-hander. And bump! Oh, he gets a good bump on Chris Davies there. And he didn't get by him. Now he's going to try him on the outside through this right-hander. That's an odd place to try, going onto the back straightaway. There's Wilden, and he's trying to find Sir, and another little bump. They're going to be side by side down the back straightaway. Kenny Wilden really driving like Gordie Howe plays hockey. He's got his elbows up this afternoon. He's using his car as a battering ram to pick up some positions, and he's done it. He's in 6th place now at the end of the straight in front of Davies.
You know, we won't take it away from Chris, who's certainly got some endurance driving experience, but he is learning in this Players Limited GM Motorsport Series.
What place am I in?
You're in 6th, Kenny.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
A little sip of water or Kool-Aid there, and Kenny Wilden motors on. I guess he feels he's got a breather maybe for a moment, Paul.
Well, these 3 young drivers are taking a breather. Lapsevich, Sean Grossman, and John Cadman there on the inside in car number 71. Cadman spent a couple of laps in the pits when he damaged his left front tire. He's just trying to fight his way back into the battle here.
You know, Grossman is not going to let him by. Young Sean finally getting into the series this year, and now I think Cadman's got him.
Well, he's on the inside going into turn 1. Flat out through the turn, and Cadman's managed to pass number 29, Sean Grossman.
Now another lap or so, considering the fact he did qualify 3rd. He should be much faster on track than these 2 cars, but we're not sure how much damage. It appears that wheel is wobbling, Paul.
Well, he did some damage to the car, and after qualifying 3rd, as you said, Jim, it's disappointing to see him this far back in the field, but he's not giving up. He's having a great race today.
Really got to hand it to young Sean Grossman here at number 29. I think if nothing else, he is learning from John Cadman Jr. at this point. He's trying to hang on to him.
And Robin Buck is trying to hang on to 2nd place. Look at this. David Empringham in car number 45 is right with him. right up on his bumper as Rob Fellows continues to lead. Now, there's Robin Buck, number 34, smokes his tires a little under braking, going into this right-hander. Empringham very smooth, working the wheel, and he's staying close to Robin Buck.
Beautiful shot here from Robin's rear view Sony Handycam. In fact, pulling away a little bit from David Empringham at this point. These again, the two teachers here at Shannonville having their own war.
Now we'll have to see if Empringham can close up under braking at all. Slide from Empringham. That's a fast corner there. And he got a wheel off onto the dirt. He's still trying to pick up some ground going through this twisty S portion, leading to turn 14 and then out onto the front straightaway. Whoa, smoke pouring off the right front tire of Robin Buck's Firebird as he brakes hard going into that left-hander. It allowed Empringham in car number 45 to pick up some ground. Now he's looking for a way to get by.
David tries to poke that nose in there. No, he falls back again right on the bumper, and he'll hang on to Robin as best he can, and he's going to make that move any moment now. There's no question that I think Empringham is a little stronger than Robin at this point, comes right up on him once more.
He seems to be braking better into the corners. Now, I don't know if Robin has got tire trouble. He's locked up wheels a couple of times going into corners under heavy braking, and Empringham seems to be able to inch a little closer. Through this part of the circuit is where he's going to gain an advantage. He does, however, seem to lose a little to Robin Buck in straight horsepower down the straights.
Robin Buck, the Pringles car, just ahead of this Motormaster entry of David Empringham's number 45. David slides through one more time.
David, now he's trying to set up Robin Buck. As we look out the back, the Sony Handycam out the back window of Robin Buck's car, we can see Empringham trying to find some room. He's taking a different line through the corners. Look at how calm his hands are on the wheel. He's really not, whoa, and he put, well, so much for that. He got a little wide, put two wheels in the dirt, and had to correct rather violently to keep the car on the track, and he's lost some ground as a result.
Well, if David started to doze off there for a moment, that certainly woke him up. I'll tell you, here's Robin sliding through one more time. Well, 3/4 of this race at Shannonville is now race history. With 15 laps down, here's a glimpse at our standings. Rob Fellows, number 2, the race leader. More race action to come as we watch these two right after this break. Welcome back to a very hot, humid race day. Round 3 of the Players Limited GM Motorsport Series. Our leader is Rob Fellows, but we're watching the battle for second. Robin Buck trying to hold off David Empringham here, and David is right beside him.
Empringham tried to go on the inside through the left-hander. Now he's setting him up for this corner before the start-finish straight. Robin Buck with his eyes glued to his mirrors, and we get a chance to see what it looks like for Robin Buck trying to hold off David Empringham into turn 1.
It's interesting here because David seems to drop off a bit, and then he has another attack. He's really plotting this, I think, as each corner goes by.
And I think there is a definite horsepower advantage. Robin Buck seems to be able to pull away on the straights. Empringham, whose tires may be better, whose brakes may not have worn out in this heat, seems to be able to pull up on Buck through the tight portions of the circuit. We'll have to watch now as they come out of turn 3, heading to turn 4, to see if Empringham can close the gap. And look at this. Robin Buck gets a little bit of a slide going through this corner. Empringham sliding too, so he's not going to gain too much. Two wheels up onto the curbing, and he's closed the gap on Robin Buck.
Robin Buck, number 34. David Empringham in number 45 tries it again on the outside. No, he falls in behind Buck once more. A gentle touch to the brakes from Robin.
Now Empringham has to get an advantage here before they head onto the long straightaway. If he can pull up right up onto Buck's bumper through the twisty part of the circuit, he may have enough horsepower down the straight to pull level and maybe get on the inside. We'll have to watch the tactics now to see how cleanly he gets through this part of the circuit. He's staying right in Robin Buck's tire tracks. He's doing that to try to pull up some ground on him. Now we can see how close he's getting. Every time those brake lights come on, you wonder if David is stabbing the pedal with the same amount of pressure. He's right on Buck's bumper now.
This is truly an exciting ride, just watching David Empringham plotting this attack on Robin Buck. He's like a shark after his prey and is about to strike at any moment now.
Well, he could have tried there, but he didn't. He's waiting. He's holding back. He knows how fast this corner is, and he's obviously running it to the limit. He put his left rear wheel out into the dirt one more time.
As the race leader fairly well ahead of this war that is happening for second place, a few seconds behind him. Once more, David Empringham up on Robin Buck. Whoop, up under the bumper. Will he go to the inside this time? He tries to poke the nose in there, Paul.
But he can't do it. He pulls out a little bit to have a look down the front straightaway. There's Empringham's crew keeping a very close eye on this battle. They head through turn 1. Now, Empringham's not close enough now. Oh, we've got a car off the track. That's number 57, Paul Lawler.
He gave us an interesting ride earlier today, in fact, Paul, and this one not quite as exciting. He corrects it and tries to get back into the race, but he's, oh no.
A bit too much enthusiasm. He got into the corner, and in all fairness, this corner is very slippery. Lawler off the track, but he's going to get back in the races. We return to the battle for second place between Robin Buck in car number 34 and this man, number 45, David Empringham.
Once more, David Empringham bobbing in and out back of Robin Buck. Robin obviously has got it.
Oh, he's going to try, and he's bumped Robin Buck. Empringham's crew loves that move. He tried to sneak on the inside. He's done it. He's got second place. Let's have another look at it out the back of Robin Buck's car. You can see how close Empringham is. He dives to the inside. They get under braking. Empringham now, with his brakes on, in slow motion, he smokes the tire. He's locked up that right front, and bang, he bumps into Robin Buck, pushes Robin off onto the edge of the circuit, and manages to get second place. He muscled his way through that one.
David Empringham could not have timed this better. He is by Robin Buck. They come through for the last lap signal for our race leader, Rob Fellows.
Fellows is not in much peril of losing this race unless something happens to his car. He's got a commanding lead.
Now look at this action. Number 11, Doug Beatty Jr. has been running fifth consistently through this entire event. Ken Wilden, who spun out earlier, a marvelous fight back, and he is coming up on Beatty at this point. He wants that fifth spot.
Not a bad vibration.
He's reporting a bad vibration, so he may have to settle to staying behind Doug Beatty Jr. No doubt all that bumping around he's had today has had an effect on the car.
Oh, look at this, a new entry in the race and sprinting across the track. Where did this wheel come from, Paul?
Well, from car number 35, obviously. That's Ted Powell, who's parked on the infield.
Here's our race leader, Rob Fellows, on the final lap. He is coming for the checkered flag, and he's alone out in front.
Our fastest qualifier today, he started 6th after the first lap incident. He was 3rd. On the 4th lap, he took over 2nd place, and from the 8th lap, he has been the leader of this event.
Rob Fellows out of the final corner. The front straight comes down. The checkered flag waves for this young man, now out of the shadow of his brother Ron.
And the Sunoco crew happy with that finish. Let's go back to number 45, David Empringham in the Motomaster Camaro, finds 2nd place.
And second win this year for this man, Rob Fellows. Richard Bernard, a disappointing 4th. Doug Beatty, an exciting 5th place finish, his best this year. Kenny Wilden, what can you say? Spun out to 19th, finished up in 6th spot. We'll be back at the podium.
At Shannonville Motorsports Park as the winner today, Rob Fellows, pulls his Sunoco Camaro into the pits. His crew congratulating him. That's his brother Ron there in the shorts on the right-hand side. Let's have a look at the championship standings so far. Rob Fellows moves into the lead now with 296 points. Richard Bernard now finds himself tied for 2nd with his teammate David Empringham. Robin Buck slides back into 4th place, and Kenny Wilden goes back to 5th. Doug Beatty Jr. has sneaked up into the top 6, and our top rookie is in 10th place. That's Chris Davies.
Were you happy off the start there, Rob?
Well, I almost got taken out. David and John and Kenny were all side by side into 2, and I was on the outside. I got hit, but I managed to drive right around the outside of those guys. I got hit on the way through, but got through okay. So
I don't know. Maybe Richard is weakening out here.
You can't talk like that. He'll get mad and start going faster.
Second win for you this year, Rob, so things so far for you and the team are on track.
Yeah, the guys just did a fabulous job, and I got to thank Sunoco and Mackenzie and Applewood for helping us out. Without them, we wouldn't be here.
Rob Fellows with win number 2 here at Shannonville.
I said a typical Shannonville race for me.
It is Rob Fellows first.
Well, I would have to say it's a much more aggressive David Empringham in 1990, and you showed that today, David.
Yeah, we had a good race. The start was full of excitement, shall we say. I'm not saying whose fault was what, but there's a lot of fender benders out there, and it wasn't a good show on the start. After Kenny and I hit on the first corner, I had to go around John Cadman, and to work my way up was quite a battle. My car was working well after a few laps after the incident. I think the rubbing against the fenders didn't do it any good, but we're happy. I'd like to thank Motomaster, Trudeau Motors, and the whole team, Robinson Racing. The car works great.
The 3 leaders on the victory stand, but one driver we should not forget today who had a spectacular ride is Kenny Wilden. Here's Jim.
We were kind of needling Richard here at his track, but I guess he kind of kept things in hand today. Didn't win it.
Yeah, Richard, he did a good job, especially after the, you know, two races in one day with the heat and that. You know, I was having a tough enough time with the heat myself, but to do 2 races in a row, he did a very good job.
I thought I was strong at the beginning of the race with Robin, and suddenly it seems that my car was good for 1 lap, and it kind of fell apart from there. For some reason, we just didn't have the bite, or we didn't have the proper balance today, and I'm still quite confused about the whole thing. Since I bought on a set of qualifying cars, it's just the car hasn't been the same, and I'm scratching my head right now. I'm not sure why the car wasn't handling very well.
It was hot in Shannonville, a hot race, a hot drive by young Kenny Wilden. Not so good for Richard Bernard. He was locked out of the winner's platform one more time. He'll have more to say, though, I'm sure, at Motorsport in the next run in this particular series. For our co-host, Paul Chater, Jim Paulson, bidding adieu from Shannonville. Next up on the GM Motorsport Hour, we go to the next round of the ACT Stock Cars in Saint-Air, Quebec. Don't miss out.